Good morning. How are y'all doing? So decided to do a live instead of just pre-recording this video. I'm gonna try not to be on here long. So if you come in midways, just start the video all over again. If you're watching on replay, definitely hit that like button, get in the comments, let me know what you think about what's going on right now. And if you are here right now, thank you so much for watching. So welcome in TOMMYBITES TV. So much stuff is happening, and it's like I've always said, they're constantly throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what is going to stick. I can guarantee you right now that there is a few people in higher places that are excited about this potential global pandemic and probably praying that if they pray that it will spread, because what they want is for another pandemic to happen. So this will help them with their reset a whole lot faster. Welcome in. I see y'all popping up in here. I'll greet y'all in just a few minutes, but I gotta get the info out because my daughter want me to take her to the store. So welcome in, y'all. It's kind of cool today here. Let's see. Okay, so this is the cruise ship right here. And the so-called rat virus, the hantavirus, that's out. And now they're saying that this thing is able to spread from person to person. It's not how they thought it was with the rat feces and urine and maybe just breathing it in, and that's how you can get it. They believe now that it is transferable person to person. Right now, countries are actually going back and forth with each other because no one wants to really accept this ship into their port because they say they don't have enough information. So I'm going to show you what the cruise ship looked like right here and what the inside is looking like, because everybody on board, it's about 150 people on board. That includes staff as well. And they are being quarantined in their rooms. They've been quarantined for the past 3 days now. I've seen this story, but didn't know if I wanted to report on it at all. So far, only one person's really on the boat that's providing information. He really didn't know much anyway. And so a lot of people are saying, is this something false that he's putting out? But it really is happening. The WHO has been involved. As you can see, everything is just empty because people are locked in their rooms. Okay, so a French national who was not on board the rat-infested cruise liner has reportedly contracted the hantavirus after taking a flight with an infected passenger. It marks the first case of a deadly disease in a patient who was not on the MV Hondius, because he contracted it from a person that was on there, but they got off the ship after their spouse died and caught a flight. So now they got to contact trace everybody that these people have been around now that they know, because when officials entered the ship, they realized, okay, we don't see any rats. Like, we see traps, but we don't see rats. We don't see feces. We don't see urine or anything like that. So this must be the other type of hantavirus, which is the antivirus of the hantavirus, which is more deadly and able to spread person to person. Like I said, there are people in high places right now. They're probably like, oh, I hope this happens. I hope this happens, because what they want is another reset. So it comes as a Brit, the ship's doctor. The two others were medically evacuated from the ship. The doctor has been medically evacuated from the ship, y'all. The doctor done got sick. And the hantavirus patient, who was a passenger on the MV Hondius, is being treated in Zurich, Switzerland. The Swiss Health Ministry confirmed the case and said University Hospital Zurich was prepared to deal with such cases, is able to care for the patient, and guarantee the safety of staff and all patients. Now, you can't guarantee anybody's safety because y'all don't have all the information. They really don't have all of the information. This is like some of the route of what took place. So you have April 1st where, the ship leaves. The ship is traveling. April 11th, first passenger dies. Then you have up here, April 25th, the wife of deceased passenger flown from St. Helena to Johannesburg. April 26th, the woman dies in Johannesburg. April 27th, second sick man flown to hospital. May 2nd, another passenger dies on the ship. May 3rd, ship arrives at Cape Verde. May 6th, ship now heading towards the Canary Islands, which this is where the back and forth is coming into play, because they want to take the ship to a different port, but Spain is like, okay, why they can't do it over there? You know, why the rush? If it's nothing bad, if people are being medevaced off the ship, you know, and they just want to protect their people as well. So May 6th, ship now heading towards the Canary Islands. May 6th, 3, including Brit, evacuated to Netherlands, another treated in Zurich and French case. And this is the ship here. One of the two evacuated was a British crew member thought to have caught the virus while treating patients. So that's probably the doctor. The Spanish health minister said he is in a more stable condition after previously being in a critical condition. The other two patients being medically evacuated to the Netherlands are a Dutch crew member and a German passenger. The German passenger will then be transferred for checks in Dusseldorf. The WHO director said 3 suspected hantavirus case patients have just been evacuated from the ship and are on the way to receive medical care in the Netherlands. Now, these people are all in different areas that they're taking them to. Fears are also growing that passengers who shared a flight with an infected woman could become super spreaders. Where did those people go? So that's why the contact tracing is happening right now, you guys. Authorities are desperately trying to trace the contacts of a 69-year-old Dutch woman who disembarked the MV Hondius on one of the world's most remote islands. The woman, the wife of one of the passengers who died from the hantavirus, got off the ship. Why was she? Well, maybe they didn't know at that time what was happening, but they allowed her to get off of the ship after her husband died. So the woman, the wife of one of the passengers who died from the hantavirus, got off the ship in St. Helena with gastrointestinal symptoms, and that was on April 24th. She then flew to Johannesburg on April 25th, where she died of the rare virus. And they say that this virus can take up to 8 weeks to even show up in you. So that's why they're trying to backtrack for the people that was on the ship. What did they do before they got on the ship? Because this did not just happen and then they died. This has been in their system for weeks. Experts have warned that the Andes strain of the hantavirus contracted by passengers is susceptible to super spreader events. Okay, so we're going to go over here. Let me see. What news is watching it, you know, and carrying it? I can't even think this morning. What news is providing information? We're going to find them right now. And a reminder of, they will come out and they will say there's nothing for us to worry about. The same way they did when COVID took place. When COVID took place, COVID had been here for a while and they were just monitoring it, but they were telling us there's nothing to worry about. And that was December of 2019. Then 3 months later in March, they did that whole thing where Dr. Fauci and the rest of them was out there saying, oh, you know, we got to be locked down. trying to find. Okay, I think this is it right here.
As we begin this morning.
No. That's not it. Hold on. That's the wrong one. You can't go to that one first. We have to go to the other one first. We'll start here.
What began as a cruise of a lifetime, a weeks-long luxury journey to the edge of the Southern Ocean, has instead turned into a major medical mystery and an international crisis tonight. 3 people are dead, 4 more are ill, and nearly 150 others stranded on board the ship, where they will stay potentially for months until investigators can clear them to get off. For now, medical workers seen here boarding the ship in full protective gear are telling people to stay in their cabins as they zero in on a potential cause, a rare form of the hantavirus believed to have spread person to person on board the ship. Tom Hansen is tracking this story for us. Tom, good evening. So many questions. What are you learning?
Hey there, Tony. Good evening to you. Well, this cruise liner offered passengers a chance to stop at remote, untouched locations, regions where hantavirus is also common in the wildlife. And now the World Health Organization tells CBS News the infections could have possibly started during one of those nature excursions. Tonight, the 3 remaining passengers showing symptoms believed to be linked to the deadly hantavirus are expected to be airlifted off the MV Hondias. The Spanish government says the ship, with 147 passengers on board, could sail to the nearby Canary Islands for a full disinfection.
There are no additional symptomatic people on board. That said, the situation is being closely monitored.
New video shows officials from the World Health Organization boarding the ship in PPE, there to monitor for any new cases. Communal spaces otherwise sit empty as passengers enter their 3rd night in quarantine. According to the company managing the cruise, so far 7 passengers have fallen ill. 3 of those passengers have died, and another was hospitalized in South Africa, all of them suspected of having the hantavirus. Health officials believe the passengers were infected off the ship, which made several stops on islands up the South American coast. Symptoms can take up to a month to show up.
What we are, our working assumption is that it is the Andes virus. It could not be, but we're assuming that it is until we determined otherwise.
The Andes strain of hantavirus can spread from person to person and is only found in regions of South America. The Dutch cruise liner left Argentina on April 1st and has been moored off the West African island of Cape Verde since Sunday. The virus is most commonly spread through exposure to rodent droppings, but a representative for the World Health Organization on Cape Verde tells CBS News no rodents have been found on the ship, pointing to traps on board the vessel that appear untouched. Medical experts believe the risks are low for the outbreak to spread.
How big of a concern is this for the global community?
The potential to spread beyond an outbreak is very small.
Sounds familiar. Sounds very familiar. Very small. Okay.
Taking lightly, because this is a serious thing. This hantavirus cruise ship situation isn't looking so good, because I'm sure you all know now that they're allowed to get off the boat. They're allowed to get off the boat in the Canary Islands. But here's the thing. When investigators got on the boat to try to find the rodents, the rodent droppings, all the things that initially caused the hantavirus, they didn't find any of that. So now they believe that it's a subvirus called the Andes virus, which isn't any better because the mortality rate of that is every 4 out of 10 people will, and there are already 3 deaths on the boat from this virus. Oh, and one of the ladies that died flew. And it takes up to 8 weeks of incubation for this virus to actually even manifest and become this lethal. So now they have to go back on every single passenger on this boat and trace where they've been for the past 2 months, because they didn't find the rodent droppings that initially they thought caused this virus. So now this virus can be transmitted person to person through just like the COVID vibe situation. Look, I'm not taking this lightly, but it's giving COVID vibes hardcore. And I just hope this isn't something that is being used against us as a distraction. I'm not saying it is, I'm not accusing it of it, but a lot of similarities. This is just
exactly another distraction. And another pandemic. That's what they're planning for now. I'm not saying that this is going to be the one that will be global, but they are planning a pandemic. And I told y'all it's going to happen before 2030. My guess is it's going to happen in 2028 or 2029. It's going to be somewhere that is going to throw us into us having to be restricted in our movement, because that's going to allow them to get their system even more into play. Notice when we went into restriction, we can't go out between these hours and that hours. What were they doing between those hours? They were getting things in place, y'all. And that's what's going to take place, because we are going to move to everything digital. That includes your money.
You know, lately things are just throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks. And I'm just hoping that this isn't another thing to distract from something else going on. It's heartbreaking that there have been deaths, and the interviews, if you've seen the people on the vote, it's sad. But this situation is something none of us should be taking lightly, because this is a serious thing. This
I agree. It's serious, even though they're downplaying it, just like they downplayed COVID. But let's see. Let me share this with you. I don't know if this is it or not. I was looking for the one where I pulled up. They were right before they told us, you know, we needed to lock down, they were telling us, oh, it's nothing to worry about, you know, go on with your life and stuff like that. And then before you know it, life changed and it never was the same again.
The U.S., even before some really interesting news from the CDC, they believe the coronavirus was in the U.S. even before we initially thought it was. Here's how they know. They sent researchers to the Red Cross, and they looked at blood donations, and they found blood donations from December 2019 that actually possessed antibodies for COVID-19. Now, that was before China reported its first case. You can decide whether or not you want to believe China's reporting, but at the end of the day, the coronavirus was in this country, we now know, long before we even thought.
And it's not about if you want to believe China's reporting. I don't believe any of their reporting. They knew in 2019, not even in December, in October. I remember this fresh, and I couldn't find a video. I don't know if they pulled it down, but in 2020, when they came out, not 2020, 2019, October, they came out initially talking about this. And then everybody was starting to freak out. So, okay, we don't want them to freak out. So December, they come and say, we have nothing to worry about. And then 3 months later, oh, you got everything to worry about. We're almost done, you guys. I only have a few more. Let's see. Let me refresh your memory on this one. My eyes don't want to work today at all. So they want another pandemic to happen. What is it going to be? I don't know. It could be a cyber pandemic. It could be a medical pandemic, health one like this right here that's going on. We have no idea. Just note that there is going to be a pandemic happening, and we need to be aware. We need to, you know, pay attention to things, not worry and stress about them though. You know, just get what you need in case they come out and say, okay, you can't leave your house. And don't say they can't do it, because they have done it before. And in some countries, they did it even worse than we did over here in the United States. But this is them right here talking about another pandemic.
So in the next 5 to 10 years, for the next pandemic, we'll solve all those problems.
You say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when. You know, the risk per year.
Now, this is dated 2024. I don't know if this is when this was filmed, but when it was put up, it was in 2024. So we're around that time for the next one to happen, because 2030 is their deadline that they have in their minds. and they are ahead of schedule with everything that they have going on.
2%, 3%.
And he's happy.
The next pandemic, and there will be one. There will absolutely be an outbreak of another pandemic.
We definitely will have to face other surprises, black swans, as they are called, maybe different kinds of viruses.
But also there will be a surprise outbreak. Most of the work we're going to do.
And why they always smiling? Always smiling when they're talking about it. Just evil plotting.
To be ready for pandemic 2, I call this pandemic 1.
There will be certainly what we call the black swans, the unpleasant surprises which will come in our way.
So in the next 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
the next pandemic, we'll solve all those problems.
You say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when. You know, the risk per year, 2%, 3%.
The next
Okay, user credit card number.
We, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is, will get attention this time.
Will get attention this time, and then they both look at each other and smirk because they know what we don't know. Now, I don't know what they know, but I know they up to something. And so I'm just letting you know, just be, a little aware of thinking everybody's trying to help you when they come out with these jabs to save the day on their white horse, when they created the chaos in the first place. They create the problem and they come in with the solution, but most people don't realize that they're the ones creating the problem, and they're getting richer by doing it. Because if I have ownership in the vaccine that I'm pushing out there, if I have ownership or parts in the labs that's doing the research on all the diseases that's potentially can get out accidentally, they're making all of the money, and they're making it off of our bodies. They're testing things we have no idea about. They don't care about the effects of it. They just want to do what they want to do. I think I have one more for you guys. Yeah. So we had our restrictions here where they came out and they said, you can't go out between these hours unless you're working. And then you kind of show proof that you're working and stuff like that. You had to have these things. You definitely have to have your ID on you. You can't just be out and about. But we didn't have it as bad as Australia did. And Australia, even though they had it bad, they didn't have it bad as Melbourne did. So let's check out some of what their restrictions were, because there will be restrictions, whether it's this virus or the next. If it goes global, there will be restrictions. And you can say what you're not going to do, but COVID was a test. I showed y'all that in previous videos. You can go back and see the paperwork from the WEF saying that it was a test. That, they did things to see how we would respond, how obedient we would be to them, to their rules.
As we begin this morning, special coverage of the COVID outbreak in Melbourne and a new alert impacting thousands.
And if you're just coming in, this is me reminding you of how bad certain countries had it compared to us. We had it bad, but they had it worse when it came to what they could and could not do.
Thousands of fans at the MCG. The city is reliving a nightmare with a ballooning number of exposure sites added to the list. The cluster has grown to 9 after another 4 people tested positive, and restrictions have returned.
Okay, so let's take you through some of those restrictions now, and starting with private homes. Private gatherings at homes are down to 5 people. Public gatherings, of course, that limit is at 30 people this morning. Masks are compulsory indoors to anyone under the age, over the age of 12, rather. Restaurants and bars remain open. Weddings and funerals can go ahead, but with mask rules observed, and schools and workplaces can also stay open with mask restrictions, including for secondary students.
So
Okay, well, let's go now.
they really didn't have it as bad as we did because they shut our schools all the way down. Now we have kids that are so confused, you know, and when it was time to go back, cried because they didn't want to go back. Some, you know, who had never even been in school, who were just heading to school, it made it even worse for them. So it was bad. It was definitely bad. But the UK, I mean, I probably spelled that wrong.
Another soldier has fallen after a truly remarkable 13.
The new lines, social distancing.
Australians in every state and territory are living under COVID restrictions again, and 4 of our major cities are living under lockdown. So how did this happen? In New South Wales, Greater Sydney, and Blue Mountains.
For them, this was in 2021. So they really didn't get that lockdown until a little bit after us.
Shell Harbour and the Central Coast were placed in a 2-week lockdown after an outbreak in Bondi.
So from 6 p.m. today, all of Greater Sydney, the Blue Mountains, the Central Coast and Wollongong will go into a lockdown with stay-at-home orders in place until midnight, Friday the 9th of July. So essentially, a fortnight from midnight yesterday, all of Greater Sydney, the Blue Mountains, Central Coast and Wollongong will go into lockdown with stay-at-home provisions. What does that mean? It means all of us have to stay home unless for the 4 following reasons. Unless we have to work outside the home or get educated outside the home, and given school holidays, it obviously doesn't apply. But if you must work outside the home, you're able to do that. If you need to seek medical attention, including getting a COVID test, getting a vaccine or any other medical attention, you're allowed to. And you're also allowed to leave the home for care and compassionate grounds as well. And obviously, you're allowed outside to purchase goods, essential goods and services. And I know I'll say this, and I please appreciate people following these instructions. There is no need to panic buy. All the shops will be open every day of the week. There is no curfew. You can leave your home at any stage to purchase any essential goods that you need to, and that is a given. So please be thoughtful and considerate about fellow citizens, and no need to panic buy.
Just not in between the hours that I just told you can't go outside. There's no lockdown though. My goodness, that's ridiculous. Okay, I did have one more. I remember it. I don't want to always forget stuff when I get off and I go, oh, I was supposed to show them this. So let me show it to you now because it's something to think about when, oh man, did I accidentally delete it? I might have accidentally deleted it. Let me pull it up while I'm talking to y'all. When you have these people that can come in and just at a spur of the moment just say your life need to stop. You can't do this, this, that, and the third. So how much freedom do we really have? Is it a false freedom? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, wait. And they were telling us that we couldn't go outside, but outside should have been an easy place to be because you're getting vitamin D. Vitamin D heals your body. It's something with the sun they don't want us to be involved with. That's why Bill Gates is doing the cloud seeding to cover the sun. That is the goal, to be able to cover the sun, to dim the sun. It's supposed to be to help with global warming, but no, that's not what it is at all. Because if you in the Bible, you know that the sun has power. I don't know if this is it or not, but let me see. Not the one, but it's okay. It'll do. It'll do. It'll do. It'll do. Because he was saying, you know, we should have been able to be allowed to go outside and get sun, because that vitamin D has a healing power in it. But we were told not to go outside in the sun. You just like they say, don't look at the sun. You can burn your eyes, yada, yada, yada. Maybe the first few seconds you might have issues. Not going to burn your eyes to the point where you're going to be blind. But that's what they scared us with growing up.
Remember those stupid stickers? And no one is punished for it. They were wrong. They shouldn't have had us locked down for that long. They were wrong. None of that shit made sense. All that 6-foot social distancing. Fauci now admits it's all bullshit. They just came up with that number. People just started saying that number. Remember those stupid stickers on the ground at the bank? You had a sticker. You weren't allowed to like stand here, and then the other person has to stay 6 feet in front of you, and you stand there. You're not allowed to get close. It's all nonsense. It was all nonsense. And they scared the fuck out of people, and they kept businesses closed. And they closed restaurants in Los Angeles. They closed outdoor dining just because of the optics of it, because COVID started to surge. There was no evidence at all that it was causing outdoor transmission, and they closed those fucking things down. They shouldn't be allowed to have that kind of power over whether or not you can make a living and the choices that you make, because they are just human beings too. And not only are they often uninformed, they're often misinformed. They're often absolutely victims of some sort of corporate propaganda that they've been used as a mouthpiece to promote. And they're affecting these people that have worked their whole lives for 20, 30 years. And it's such a selfish, shitty, fucked up way to run a city.
The way he said 20, 30 years, and their goal is 2030. I don't believe in coincidences. He didn't mean it like that, but I don't believe in coincidences. But isn't that something?
That selfish, shitty, fucked up way to run a country. And you didn't listen to all the experts, and you didn't take into consideration people's health, mental health from losing their jobs. How many people would have been fine? How many people need this fucking medicine that you're trying to push on them? And how many don't? And who's making the money off of it? The whole thing was insane. And it was right in front of your face, because we live in 2024 and the fucking internet is everywhere. You can't run these giant scams like this where you're just fucking over the whole country without everybody just being able to piece it together at the end of the scam and go, well, now we know how they do it. Look at, they all were working in cahoots together. They were literally paying media companies to shame people that were anti-vaccine. The government was involved in censoring social media posts. Wild shit, Joey. Wild shit.
And
no one is punished for it.
They still are censoring social media posts. Many of my COVID videos, like if you put COVID in the title, you might as well know that is either not going to be monetized or it's going to be taken down. So I just wanted to let you guys know what the potential global pandemic is looking like right now with this hantavirus that's out here. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for coming in and supporting the channel. If you have not subscribed, please do. If you haven't turned on your notifications, please do that, and definitely hit that like and leave your comments after the video as well. All those things help the video get out to more people, because they do videos like this will not, for me, they don't get out. They have certain people they'll push before they push me. So please hit that like button. Hey, Kyra, how are you? Welcome in. Hey, Erica. Michelle's in here. Chosen One, good to see you. Veronica, Donna, thank you for coming in. Barbara, Ronald's here. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Who else is in here? Hey, Lisa. Yeah, Lisa, we don't know if this is going to be the one, but it has potential more than any of the others. It has potential. And when you have countries that's fighting with each other, but I don't want to take this shit. Why I got to take this shit? Why don't you take this ship? We don't know. I know it sounds like I'm cursing, but that's what it sounds like. I don't want to take this. We don't know everything we need to know about that. How can I, let my citizens know that they're going to be okay if we accept this ship in here and nothing's going to spread? Because the doctor on board has been airlifted from the ship. So who's helping now? Israel. I didn't want to butcher the first part of the name. United. Hey, Matthew. I believe that, Matthew. Let me show you what Matthew said. You don't even know. The scientist Amy wrote down about an extinction level event coming, but Google has scrubbed the internet about it. I got screenshots of a blog post, I believe is on the, yeah. They will do that. They will take stuff down. That's why I said I couldn't find something I was looking for, but I know it happened because it was like nationwide. They showed it, but I can't find it anywhere. So, and you almost really have to think, do I really? Because some stories I get, I'll be like, I don't know if I want to put that out because people come up missing. People come up missing when they report on stuff. Like it was this guy, he reported on seeing a giant, a Nephilim. And this guy ended up missing. Like, well, I ain't gonna say he ended up missing. Let me share this with you. Maybe I should do that in a different video. But this guy, he saw a giant. He didn't know what he was seeing. So he shared it with people, that was following him. And they was like, oh, you should go back and see whatever. So he just went back to see, not thinking nothing or whatever. And CIA or somebody was there and they wouldn't allow him to go up that road that he wanted to go on to get closer to it. So he kind of staked out and he saw helicopters after that, and they were lifting something big from out of there. And there's been stories about the pilot of that plane saying what they took to another area was a giant, but they began following this dude that just randomly saw this as he was driving down the road, followed him to his house. He confronted them. They took off. And then the next thing you know, his followers didn't hear from him for a while. And then he came back on. And when he came back on, you could tell he was in a room with a white wall or whatever, leaning against the wall with his hands in his pocket. And he was trying to play it cool, but also let the people who were watching know that there's somebody else here, because he kept looking like this. And then he would say whatever they had written for him to say, which was, hey guys, that was all a joke or whatever. And then you didn't hear from him again. And then when you heard from him again, he said he was by himself and he was like, I don't know if he said, I'm going to come up missing, or, hey guys, this might be the last time you see me, something to that nature, because what I saw out there, I saw it was real. And after that, nothing. Silence on his social media. Next thing you know, it's in the papers or somewhere saying that this man is dead. We know that they unalive people. So I'm cautious on hey, Vision Preparedness, thank you for coming in. I'm cautious on every story that I do. It makes me nervous sometimes. Like, I don't fear man, but I do love my life, and I ain't ready to go until God take me. But there are things that go on, and I will share that video so that y'all can see what I'm saying. I'm not just making this up. This happened. And I had no idea. I was just down a rabbit hole of Nephilim and giants and stuff like that, thinking, do I want to do this news story? And then I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to do this, you know. Ain't no view worth no life. But it's stuff that goes on that you would think it's not real. And this is why they're coming out with all this stuff now about aliens and all that. First Obama came out and said kind of, you know, yeah. Then Trump is saying, yeah, he's going to be disclosing all of this stuff. Why are they doing this right now? That is the question. Why now? When many people that came out and said they had media come out and make those people look crazy, saying they're conspiracy theorists and all that other stuff, when they knew all along that they have, and I don't believe it's aliens. Let me just say that. It'll be alien to us because anything you don't know is an alien, whatever, but not in the form of, oh, this UFO came and this is an alien. I think this is fallen angels, that these are giants. I believe that wholeheartedly because, one, I believe the Bible. And I think that they have this and they have all that technology, some of the things that were created in the day when we didn't have access to. How did they do those things? And when they can barely do those things now, like they're tearing down trees and stuff not far from me. And I think they're probably going to be building up a bunch of apartments because nobody really is buying a house right now. So they know that people need apartments, even though they're unaffordable. But it's taking them forever just to do that. So you trying to tell me back in horse and buggy day, they were able to build all of these buildings that we have now? No, I don't believe that. But that's for another day. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you, Gretchen. Again, Vision Preparedness. Y'all go check out his channel. Very, very informative. Hey, Daryl, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it, Vera. I'm trying not to miss anybody, but if I do, please don't blame me. No, you can blame my eyes for sure. I do have surgery on my left eye coming up in 2 weeks. Yep, in 2 weeks. I had my right eye done last July, cataract taken out. You're right, City on a Hill. The devil uses the same old tactics because he don't know anything new. But what he do know is people got short memories. It'll be so many people that won't remember any of the stuff. It's almost like a woman giving birth. You go through all of that pain, and then shortly after you want another kid. Memory just wiped. I almost feel like we on the Truman Show. In some kind of way, they wiping our memory. Sometimes when I look up at the sky and I see the sun or I see the moon, I think about the Truman Show and how he thought it was the sun. It was a freaking light. It was a light. It was a light. And y'all, my husband, him and his friend, his other truck driver friend, they be arguing all the time, talking about, because the truck driver friend gets upset with him anytime my husband says, you know, the world is not round, right? The earth is not round. It's flat. It has 4 corners. In the Bible, it says it has 4 corners. So how all of a sudden we round? They be going at it. So y'all, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate you listening, and I will see y'all later on today with another video. And if you want to see the one on the guy, leave me comments after this video is done. Go back in and comment that you want to see that, and then I'll put it out. If you don't comment that, I'm not going to put it out. Okay. So y'all take care. Bye.